Okay, I think we are live. Let me share this large screen to students. Okay, welcome everyone. Just a few seconds for housekeeping, and we're going to resume shortly. Everyone, just a few seconds for housekeeping, and we're going to resume shortly. Just a moment. Everyone. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the live training session for the Cisco CyberOps certification. So my name is Victor, and I'm going to be the anchor for today's training session. So I have my co-trainer, Mr. Innocent. Okay, so Southtech is a training partner for Cisco and also some other certification bodies. So you have quite a lot of Cisco certifications. You have the ones associated with cybersecurity, you have the ones associated with networking, and you have quite a lot of others. But our focus is how to prepare you for the Cisco CyberOps certification. And on the academy, we have what we call the Cisco CyberOps certification. So the purpose of this lab sessions is to actually give you hands-on experience, trying to use most of the cybersecurity tool set to be able to do the job of a SOC 1 analyst. And who do we call a SOC 1 analyst? That's to say, somebody that works in a security operations center, the tier 1, that is the very first person that is going to have contact with remediating cyber threats. And some of the duties you're going to be doing is going to be logging files, is to be able to do backups, is to be able to do use some packet filtering tools, is to be able to do encryption, decryption, be able to do investigate some malwares, investigate some attacks, and actually log them for somebody higher in the ladder, right? So I think in the very first day, we looked at setting up our labs. Then we looked at some tools. So we have about 18 labs we're going to be considering through the 10 days. So we'll see how to pick like 2 or 3 every day. So if we have more time within the 10 days, we're going to do more labs. Now, the idea of the training is not to touch on most of the basic theoretical stuff. So the entire recording for this course is available on the channel. You already have the playlist if you're in the training group. So you should go through those 28 modules. They are very, very explicit. Every item have been properly explained. So take your time and go through those playlists. Then get the labs, get your machines, make sure you have a system, and you set up these labs and get ready for the labs. So all through the days, we're going to be going through the labs. I think that's a bit of introduction for now. So I think I'll hand over to Mr. Innocent to just scan through what has been done in the previous day. Or I think we can just move on to comments. Look at the 3 labs we're going to be considering today, and just start the labs right away. So within the labs, we can use around 20-30 minutes for each lab. Once we are done with the lab, if you have questions, don't forget to use the live session, the YouTube live. So just drop your questions. If you have questions, if you want us to repeat something, if you have a question you want to ask, do them on the live chat. Okay, so welcome to today's live training. So I think you can take it over from there.
Okay, hello everyone, good evening everyone, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. My name is Innocent, and I'll be anchoring today's lab. So today is day 3 of our CyberOps lab, and we've looked at some labs in our previous days. Let me just open this. So today is day 3. In our day 1, we explored some processes in the Windows machine. So we saw what a process is. We saw how to exploit it using Task Manager and the Process Explorer tool from System Internal. In our day 2, we looked at these 3 labs. We worked with PowerShell. That was yesterday. We worked with PowerShell. We became very, very familiar with the Linux environment, right? The Linux shell, which is the terminal. We learned how to navigate in the shell, how to just perform some basic operations in the Linux terminal. And we also looked at these Linux servers. So today, we'll be taking these 3 labs. Let me just drag it over here. So we'll be looking at these 3 labs. We'll be locating log files still in the Linux environment. We're locating log files because you need to know how to work in the Linux environment, because most of the things you will do, in fact, you must just encounter Linux if you are into cybersecurity, right? There's no two ways about that. So you need to know how to work conveniently in the Linux environment, how to navigate, how to perform some operations, especially as a tier 1 analyst, right? So we'll also be looking at navigating the Linux file system and permission settings. So we're understanding what permission is and how to add some permissions to a file, right? And then for our last lab, we'll be taking a look at Wireshark, okay? In basic introduction to Wireshark. So this is going to be a very fun lab today. So let's get started. So first things first, we need to open our CyberOps virtual machine. Okay. If you set up in your VirtualBox, you open your VirtualBox and then you start your machine. So this is what we did yesterday. Okay, let me just clear my screen using the clear command. So you should be familiar with at least this basic command. Okay. So now we want to start working with log files. So first of all, what is a log file? A log file is simply files used by computers to log events. Okay, they are simply files used by computers to log events. So software programs, background processes, and the rest, you generally they will generate log files, right? They will generate log files, and these log files can be used for troubleshooting most times, okay, or all the time, if you want to put it like that. Okay, so let me say, as a cybersecurity analyst, your job is to, review a log file of let me say, a web application, and you want to see who has logged into the system, stuff like that. Or if there's an error popping up, you want to see how to troubleshoot that error, how to fix it. So you need to go to a log file to do perform all those kind of tasks, right? If sometimes during an attack, like let me say a web vulnerability like a SQL injection or an XSS, and you have an IDS, monitoring the web application, okay, and then someone performs a web attack, right? Those kind of attacks usually will be logged, okay. So that the people performing, or the hacker performing the SQL injection attack or the XSS or whatever vulnerability or whatever attack the attack is performing, the hacker's machine will generally be logged, okay. Things like the IP address, the browser, which is the user agent the hacker is using, and stuff like that. So log files help us to see what's happening in an application. Okay, so we've looked at. So these are the objectives. Now we've understood what a log file is. Now let's see how to locate a log file in unknown systems. Okay. Let's see. Give me a second. Okay. So, for example, let me open up this log file. So generally, you will see your log files in the var/log. Okay. So if you do cd var/log, this is a basic command. You should be familiar with it by now. And you press enter. See we're in the log file. If I do my pwd, you will see my general path. You see I'm in the var/log. Okay. Keep in mind. So now I want to do ls to see all my logs, right? This is the Linux file. This is Linux environment. So it's common to see a path like this with this naming convention, with this with these paths. Okay, so I want to open the messages. This is a log file for operating system. Okay, so I want to see the random messages that operating system generated. Okay, so let me see. I can just use cat, to view a text file or to view any file to the terminal, to the console. So if I do cat messages, cat just pushes everything out to me. So you see permission denied. Okay, of course, I was expecting that. So we need to use the sudo. If you remember, we did this yesterday. Sudo cat messages to invoke the super user administrative privileges, right? So I press enter, it will ask me for my password, and then I'll put in CyberOps, which is my password. And if I press enter, you see all these popping up, okay? So for reading log files, using the cat command, we did the cat command yesterday. So using the cat command is not generally a good idea, because as you can see, it just gave us the entire log in one go, okay? The entire log, and I can't even scroll back because my screen is filled up. So what I want to do is there's another command for reading that is more appropriate for reading log files. So I'm going to use sudo again, and then use the command will be more. Okay, so sudo is to invoke the super user privileges, which is root, and then sudo more, and then I want to read messages. Okay, and if I press enter, you see more gives me the entire text one screen at a time. Okay, this is one full screen, and if I press enter, it just gives me bit by bit. Okay, so the more command is going to give me the entire text one screen at a time. Okay, so if you look at this is an operating system log. You'll be seeing things about the booting issue. Okay, so if you are troubleshooting your booting issue, this is like a good guide. Okay, so you come into troubleshoot, and then you see stuff, you see this, that, Intel, things about the operating system, right? So I can continue scrolling down, and then we'll see other things. And then if I just press Control C to exit out of the current distance command. Okay, so now let's look at another. And one good thing about logs is you usually see timestamps too. Okay, so the time the log occurred, right? So you want to be noting that as a cybersecurity analyst, right? You see that this one occurred on the 20th of March at around 3:28, right? So you see this. So you now see the error generated, right? The log message. So you now see this. So you can now troubleshoot and continue with what you are doing. So depending on what you are looking for, you will, you should always consult your log files. So now let's see. Let's locate log files in unknown systems. Okay, for this second part now, I want to show you how to generate a log file for the Nginx web server. We treated Nginx yesterday. Nginx, when we discussed servers, this is the reason we tabled this. This is the reason we structured this lab to follow Cisco's curriculum serially. Okay, so I showed you how to start the Nginx server, but I will still show you again. So now I want to just understand what this Nginx is all about. So I'll use my manual to just read the general guide that is involved, that concerns the Nginx. Okay, so I want to see things about Nginx. So if I press enter now, okay, I'm getting this. I'm going to press enter. What I'm looking for is anything about log, okay, debugging logs and things like that. So now we're seeing this debugging log. To enable a debugging log, we configure Nginx to build with, okay, this. So this is useful. This is useful. This is useful. So let's just continue. Okay, Control C. We'll quit. This time I'll use Q because we're in the manual page. So we use Q to quit, and then we're out of there. So now let's see what we want to do. Well, first of all, I want to start my Nginx. So this is the command we used yesterday. Okay. Remember, you can use your up arrow key and your down arrow key to get back previous commands. Okay, your up arrow key and your down arrow key. Very, very useful when working in the terminal. So if you want to start your log, you want to start your Nginx server, you press enter. Okay. And then we get this, which is totally fine. Some people, some persons sent this kind of message in the WhatsApp group. So yeah, it's fine. It just means that what this thing is saying is that, oh, it has already started and it's running, right? And then that the address is already in use. That is this port number, this address is already in use. So you can always verify that it is running. Okay, you see, you can always verify that it's running using you can use your netstart to see which port is binded, right, to this IP address. But this is like another way for saying home. 00, this is localhost. Okay, so this is localhost. So you can always know which one is binded to this. So now if I say sudo netstart and with this flag, with this switch, and I press enter, I will see that, oh, Nginx is running, right? Port 80. Okay, so it's binded to this. So like this, we call it a socket. Okay, just don't worry about it. You can learn more about sockets in our networking class. But so now we can confirm that it's already running, and port 80 is where the Nginx is being hosted, right? So we can also confirm. We can check our browser, and then let this open. Okay, look at it here. And then if we do 127.0.0.1, if I press enter, it should open by default with port 8 because this is a web browser, right? I don't need to append my socket, my port number. So this is it. So now what you want to do is you want to locate the log file for Nginx. Okay, want to locate the log file. Okay, let me run this process. So PSAX, and I grep for, if I can type grep for Nginx. So don't be confused about this command. We've seen this command yesterday for viewing our processes in the Linux environment. Okay, and then this is a flag, this is a switch to tune the process, to get the result of what we want. We want to see all the processes. That's what we are saying here. Okay, and then this is called piping. Okay, this is called piping. What we are saying here in essence is the output of this command, send it to this grep. Grep is we use grep to kind of filter for things, right? There's something you call regular expression in normal programming. You hear of regular expression to filter for certain things. Okay, it helps you obtain things a lot easier. Okay, so now I'm saying, oh, process of this, I want to get the entire process, and then send me the output of the entire process to grep to filter for Nginx in particular. Okay, so if I press enter, I will see everything now about Nginx. Okay, so I'm saying, oh, Nginx, this. Okay, give me a second. My mouse is not so right. Okay. So now that now that we've confirmed that our server is running on Nginx, let's issue this other command. ls, give me a second. ls. So I'm just using some of the commands we've seen already, and then doing a lot of other things. Okay, ls this. So Nginx should also be here. Okay. Okay, give me a second. So now what I'm trying to do now is to locate the folder where Nginx logs can be located. Okay, so so I know it's in the etc. This is like another folder. Just leave it like that. So I know it's here, and then Nginx should be somewhere here. But let me just enter the entire command Nginx. Right. I'm use the long listing. Seen this yesterday. So now this is inside the Nginx folder, Nginx web application. So this is where we'll see a lot of other things about the Nginx. For example, now we're seeing the configuration file for the Nginx and other things. So let me I'm not in the directory yet. I'm just viewing it, taking a peek at the Nginx folder from my log. I'm still in my log, this thing. My log directory. Okay, so different applications can decide to put anything about their log files in any location they want. It doesn't matter. So the reason I'm coming here is I want to see the Nginx logs. Okay, so it's in this etc Nginx folder. So let me enter the folder first. etc Nginx. Okay, so that it will be a lot easy for us. Now, if I do ls-l, we should get this ls-l. Okay, now we're in the folder. Okay, so now the particular file of interest to me is this nginx.conf configuration, right? This is what I want to see. I want to see all the configuration about Nginx, like, because it's a service, it's a web server application. So I want to see what kind of things it is generating, what kind of errors it is generating, right? Remember, we're dealing with log files. So this particular log file is specific, or it's directed to the Nginx, okay, Nginx web applications, for lack of word to use. So let me see cats. Let's see. I want to just see everything now. Let's see nginx.conf. That is if I'm not in my path, but there's no need for all this. Since I can just see it here, I can just do nginx.conf. Okay, and if I press enter, you see the entire thing again. Okay. Okay, you see this. Okay, give me a second. Okay. Don't mind me, my mouse is a bit tricky here, so it's sticky. So now let's take a peek. Let's take a peek and now use more because cat just gives me the entire thing. Okay, so it's not suitable for reading log files. So let me do sudo more okay, nginx.conf. I hope you can still follow me, please. So now if I put my password CyberOps, you see this one screen at a time. Okay, now we are saying, oh, this is some of the errors generated. Okay, let's just so you can spend time with this and try to see if you can figure out anything. So okay. So we're seeing this error page for
Are you still there?
yeah, I'm still, can you hear me?
Sure, I can hear you right on.
Okay. So this is the nginx. This is one of the nginx log file, but this one is for configuration. Sorry. If you okay. So if we want to do anything concerning the configuration, this is the file we need to need to open. Okay. Okay. I just saw something that okay. Okay, where am I? PWD at C Nginx. Oh, right. There was a bit of let's say a mismatch or something. Let me show you. So this particular directory now, this is where you can locate. I was thinking there will be a log file here, but this is mainly for configuration, as you can see. Okay. Now I'm just getting myself clearly. So this is mainly for configurations. So if you want to configure the Nginx server, this is where you come for your configuration. Like I've just shown you now. Okay. But if you want to check for the logs, you want to see the specific Nginx log. This is it here, var log nginx. Okay, so it's actually an nginx folder in the general log directory. Okay, so pardon me here. So now if I do ls, now I'm in the directory. So this is the general log directory. So I was thinking, oh, nginx is different. Okay, but no, they still specify their log directory inside the Linux log folder. So let me do ls here, and then we'll see these major log files. Okay, so access is generally for maybe people that logged in or people that try to access a specific URL. Okay, so let me show you. If I use more sudo more access.log, okay, and I press enter, you see this. Now this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been looking for since. Okay, let me let me start from here. This is a URL. This is a URL. Remember, when you try to enter Facebook, for example, let me say facebook.com/your-profile. Okay, that will give you things about your profile, like you see your profile name, everything. So the slash folder that comes after the main domain name, it's like a folder that says, oh, this is pertaining to a particular resource. Okay, but now this resource here is an executable file for Windows, and then this is the URL that I was trying to get this. Okay, so this is a get request. Whoa. Hello, can you see hear me? Hello? Hello? Goodness. Is it the bad weather? Oh, man. Let me see if I can still connect. Please hold on. Feeling Hello, can you still hear me? Hello.
Sure, I can hear you right on.
Okay, there was a bit
Sure,
break.
I can hear you.
Okay. So this is the access log.
Yeah,
So this
just right on.
this particular resource was being accessed, okay, by this IP. And you see 200 means it's okay that it went through. Okay. So um this is the IP that was trying to access this. And then the user agents, that's like the browser, or this is the user agent choosing wget. Wget is like a terminal utility. Okay, it's like a tool. It's a tool in the terminal, so you can use it to get some things, to download things. Okay, so if you look at this other log file here, this other line here, you check this IP. This is from the home, okay, from this in itself, from the machine itself, where the Nginx is hosted, and then it tried to access the normal URL, the 127.0.0.1, try to access it via Mozilla Firefox. So so as you can see, a log file is very useful. It can show us a lot of things. Okay, so this is just the one of the log files.
Okay, sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you still hear me? Whoa. Hello. This weather is bad.
Okay, good. I can hear you. Okay, now let me just share a little story. I don't know if yes, I can hear you.
Okay, carry on.
Do you have rainfall there in Owerri?
Yes, sir. It's raining cat and dog here, so there's a bit break in connection.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, sir. There's a bit break in connection, so it's raining here.
Okay. I think I wanted to share a story. Yes. I think maybe it's raining in Owerri.
Yes, sir.
I think Abuja's weather is clear, but I don't know why we have okay. So let me share a story so that some of our students, you get to understand. Most of the times when we say log file, now if you have a hack, if a hack happens, let's say somebody's trying to hack a web server or hack a network, or like Nginx is a web server. Some people call it Nginx. Some people call it NJIX. Some people call it Nginx. Whatever name you call it, it's a web server. So you have several other types of web servers, right? You can have an Apache server. You can have most Apache server is going to be Linux. You can have a Microsoft server. You can have AWS. They have their own servers, custom made. They also use other different types of servers, that open source or paid. Now, whatever kind of server you use, as a beginner or an expert or anything. Now, the thing is that if you have an attack or you have a malware intrusion into your network or your web application, one of the first things most of the times as a SOC analyst, one of the first things he's going to do is to go check for his log files. Because when you check your log files, the log files have timestamps. They can tell you what happened. I think maybe during the web programming training we're going to be doing following this. Most of us will now have a domain name, a hosting server, and most of them are going to be Apache, that's Linux servers. You now get to have a full grasp of some of these things because there's always a log file in every server that keeps track of almost everything that happens on the server. Whether it's a Linux server, whether it's a Windows server, just for it, that's why your what's it called? Your Windows system has what we call an event management system, have like a log file. So anything that happens as a SOC analyst, one of the first things you want to look at is to go check your log files to see what has happened, when did it happen. then before you cannot take it up to start doing digital forensics. And I think on the channel, you have a complete curriculum, a complete training on digital forensics. So that's one of the essence of you checking log files, looking at what happened. Like if you check on the screen what you're seeing, if you check the very first item that is showing, you see 32 and namedam.am.exe. That is a file that is trying to, I think, okay, yes, that's the file that is on 27th of June 2023. Look at the IP address. It's trying to get to, I think, is a HTTP connection. Yes, it's trying to get to this particular IP address. So you can tell. So there's nothing that happens without a trace. The next one is, I think, the host itself, 127.0.0.1, trying to access Mozilla. Then I think you're not having a reply. You're having the web page load. You're not having the favicon. So a favicon is that guy, that icon that you have on the top, like on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com, on top, you're going to see an icon like on our stuff. Now you're seeing this welcome to niche. That server, see that Mozilla Firefox icon. That is what is called the favicon. So that favicon now has to load, the web page content has to load, and several other things have to load. So you can actually track. There was a hack that happened sometime last 2 months. The very first thing I did to even try to attempt to fix the server is to do what? Is to check the log files. From the log files, and I knew what was wrong, and I went, fixed those things, and in like an hour or two, we had the website back up and running. So this is actually practical. So then trying to learn the foundation of what is a log file, what's the function of a log file, and how can you use it as a SOC analyst to solve the problems you have. So in summary, anything that happens on the system, on the server, whatever, there's always a log. So you're just learning how to go to the log, access the log, see what has happened, and see if you can trace that with respect to the issue you have at hand, as well as you can fix that, or escalate it to whoever that is going to fix it.
So,
Okay, so I think that's all from my end, so you can write on. And if we can do maybe just one more lap today, so that instead of doing 3, we just do 2.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if there are still questions to be asked, but
okay, let me just let me see 1 minute if I can get a question. Just a moment. From the live chat, if you're available, if you have questions, you can ask. We just allow a minute or 2 so that we can take your questions before we move on. So if you're on the live chat, you have a question, you can just go on and ask so that before we move to, are we done with this lab?
Yes, we are done with this.
Okay, so that we can move to the next lab.
Yeah.
Now, don't forget that all the labs are very, very detailed. The 18 labs that we have shared with you are the step-by-step, what you are going to be expecting, what you're going to be doing. The labs are so detailed, right? So if you have questions, you can always ask, or if you're trying them, you have issues, you can always post a screenshot on the training group when the training groups are opened. So I want to know if anybody got my story and my case study. You can just indicate in the live chat so that we can move to the next lab. So you can just set up for the next lab.
Okay. So it's still the second lab is still about Linux, but this time around we'll be navigating the Linux file system and permission settings. Okay. So we're seeing the Linux file system. So first of all, there's a command I want to introduce to us. It is lsplk. So remember, before you issue any command, to know more about the command, you can use man. Okay. And then
okay, sorry, somebody's asking, can the log in a server be cleared? Yes, a log in a server can be cleared. So now you know one of the things, one of the concepts of cybersecurity is to ensure CIA. If we need to extend that, so we say CIA AA. So we say confidentiality, integrity, availability, non-repudiation, and authenticity. So those are the 5 elements of information security. So now when somebody clears a log file, maybe say a hacker clears a log file, or somebody that is not supposed to clear the log file, which will not make it difficult for somebody to be able to access to know what has happened. So that concept is actually has to do with integrity. So because integrity has to do with you ensuring that your files are not tampered with, your files are not pilfered with, your files are not adjusted. Later on in this course, you're going to be learning encryption, decryption, ciphertext, plain text, OpenSSL, how to use to encrypt. Now you're going to learn the difference between hash. I think it's part of the questions that we considered in the review class today. So one of your job as a security analyst is to ensure integrity. So how do you ensure integrity? Like in most AWS platforms and in most systems, the thing is that you want to ensure that people cannot delete files. So you need to be at a certain level of permission before you can delete a log file. And even if you are that permission, if you delete a log file, can we now also log that log file that nobody except the super admin can have access to? So these are ways you can ensure that people don't tamper with your log file, because if your log files is tampered with, you cannot like this problem I saw for a website that was hacked, an e-commerce website for a US company that was hacked sometime last 2 months. Now, without a log file, I will be doing a lot of gambling, because to fix some things, you need to do some reconnaissance. They say the 5 stages of hacking is what? Reconnaissance, reconnaissance and footprinting. You can put that together. Then scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and clearing tracks. That's the 5 stages of hacking: reconnaissance and footprinting, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and clearing tracks. So clearing tracks is the last thing a hacker will do. So you don't want that to happen, because if that happens, you cannot go through the loop again, because the first thing on the ladder is what? Reconnaissance. So without a log, without a footprint, without a trace, then you cannot come back to do reconnaissance. Because if you want to hack, or if you want to get a hacker, that's the first thing you do. You first do reconnaissance. Just like a story, they will tell you, okay, if you get kidnapped, if armed robbers get to you, one thing you should do is that you make sure that you leave traces. It can be maybe a pinch on yourself, or you a bruise. If it's a bush path, you want to make sure you stamp your feet on the grasses. Try to leave some traces, because what happens now is that if somebody is coming behind, is those tracks the person can now use to like know, oh, something has happened here. Okay, so somebody said, okay, so I've answered the question about can the logs in the server be cleared. Sorry, I can see you are in a niche already. How do we get in? I think all of those details are already in the lab file. Then what happens when a hacker stops the log or shares the log? I've answered that. Yes, we did get your case study. Okay, thank you very much. Please, can we get access to the cheat sheet and all of these commands? They are all in the labs. If you open your labs, you're going to see all of the commands. You're going to see everything detailed. I think maybe you just open the last one you did so that they can have a clue. No, I mean the documents. Just open the document so they can see the document, what the labs looks like. The last one you just considered. So if you can zoom out. So you see that the labs, the documents are so detailed. What you need to do step by step. No questions asked. So for the commands, for the cheat sheet, there's no one cheat sheet. It's not cheat, it's all there, right? So it's not something that is special. So all of the commands that you need to use, you all have them there. Then of course, and the answers, what you should get. I think we can move to the next lab. I've exhausted all of the questions here. So let's do one more lab before we go.
Okay, so now let's explore Linux file system. Okay, so let me clear this logs, and then I wanted to introduce us to this. Okay, let's see what this is all about. Remember, if you see a command that you want to learn more about, you can use the manual. You can just read the manual, or you can use the --help. So it still works. So this command will do for you is to list block devices. Another term, it will open what is it called? It will open your hard drive, it will just show you your drives, okay? To show you your drives in the system, like your hard drive, your SSD, your pen drive and the rest. So let me just type this LSBLK so you understand. And now we'll see this disk. So you see, so this is what our disk looks like, and it's just 10 gig, 10 gig. So my mouse, okay. So hold on a second. So if there's a command called mount, if you want to like mount any of these drives, for example, let me say you plug in your USB. If you plug in a USB and you want to access it via the terminal, of course, you can still you can use your Linux like your normal Windows. You can access it through here. You plug in your device, for example, you should be able to detect it in this in these drives, where you typically see your C drive in your Windows. You should be able to see it here. It should come up here. Okay. But if you want to see through your terminal, remember we're working with terminal here. That is if you want to show your superpower. Okay. If you type the lsblk, this command, you should see all your drives. Okay. And then if you want to open it, there's a command called mount. Mount, you can still learn about it and then see the flags you can use, put them and read about it. I don't have a drive connected yet, but yeah, this command is available. So use mount and then the name of the drive. So let me see mount first. You see, to show me all it's just mounting this. Okay, but this is a whole lot of information. Okay. I can't just run mount on everything, right? So let me see. I want to specifically search for SDA1 like this. SDA1. Okay. I can filter it with my grep. We've seen this before. I think it's available here. So I can grep for SDA1. Okay. And then you see this. This out, it will not show us this how to locate the full part, in real time. This way to locate it. And this is the type of drive being used and the rest. So okay. So so the mount command is very, 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 very useful. It's very, very useful. Let me say you can mount CLSBLK. You can mount you can mount a drive to a different location, for example. Okay. Let me say if I want to mount sudo dev sdb. But if I use my tab, it will show me the distance, the location where I can mount and the rest. Okay. So SDB1 and then till there. So a second drive here, I want to mount it to this second drive location. So you can just do stuff like this. You can mount a particular drive to this location, and then you execute it. That's your password. Put in your password, CyberOps, and then if you navigate to the CD, where is this? CD home second drive, and you do ls, you should see it should be someone, it should be found there. Okay, but it's not here. So yeah, lsblk is a very, very useful command. Okay, lsblk to see your disks and your drive. At the beginning, I plugged in something to have been better, but let's see. And then you can also unmount. Okay, like let me say you want to eject, for example. You can use the U-mount. I just want to show you a lot of commands available. Okay, so as simple as using the U-mount and then the drive. Okay, the drive there, for example, SDB1, okay, and then you unmount it as easy as this. But this kind of commands require a super user privilege, of course. So you can't just run it like this. You need to use your sudo, to run this. So you should know, now you know that there's a mount and there's an unmount command, okay, in the Linux file system. So now, the next thing I want to really talk about now is permissions, okay. This is what you must just come across. So pwd, look at where I am, my home analyst. If I do ls, I want to navigate to these lab support files, okay? Because I want to talk about permissions now. cd lab support files, and if I do ls, I want to see all the files here. Okay, but now do I see the permissions of these files and these folders? So if I do ls-l, long listen to show me more information about this. Now I can see, oh, for this, for example, this particular log file, it has so and so permission. Now I'm going to explain this permission because this is what this lab is all about now. Okay, there are three things I want you to take note of. Let me pull up my text editor. What's it called? Text editor. Okay. There are three things I want you to take note of. There's something called in a typical file permission, you see your user, you see your group, and you see others. Okay. You can pronounce this as Ugo if you know anybody by name Ugo. So you should just keep that back of your mind. So now this user will typically, in fact, every both the user, the group, and the others, they will typically have read, write, and execute. Okay, so you typically have this read, write, and execute, and then this will be for the. I don't know if you can still see me. These three will be for the user.
Yes,
okay. Okay, these three will be for the user. These three will be for the group, and this last three will be for the others. Okay, so now if you want to read this permission of this particular file, let me minimize this. If you want to read this permission of this file, this log file, you can see that, oh, this for the user of this file, it has a read and write permission. Okay, so this is for the user, this is the user, this is the group, and this is the others, this last three. Pardon my mouse. So for this file, it has the read and write. Okay, read and write, but no execute. Keep note of this. Read and write, no execute. This other permission for the group, for this same file, it has a read, but no write and no execute. Okay, and then lastly, for the others, we only see the read here, so there's no write, no execute. So in every file, you usually see a user, group, and others. Okay, so now you can still go ahead and see this. Let me see, look at this text, this txt file here, confidential.txt. You can see a read, write, no execute here for the user. For the group, there's only a read, and then for the others, there's only a read. So it means since I'm the analyst and I'm the user of this file, I can read and write to this file. Okay. Let me create a text file for you real quick. So let me use let me touch a file first. Touch random file .txt. Okay, and then if I echo some text to, and I kind of redirect my keyboard, kind of redirects to random file. Okay, and now if I do ls-l random file.txt, I see this by default. Okay, but now this is just the permission it has: read, write, and execute. In other words, this file cannot be executed. Okay, it cannot be executed. In Linux, there's a particular way we execute files. If you look at this one here, this long command here, it is showing green, okay, for the analyst. And as you can see here, it has a read, write, and execute permission. So this is a full complete permission. Okay. So the analyst can read, write, and execute here. Others can read and execute. Okay. And then sorry, user can read and execute, and the others, they cannot do anything. That's the third group. They can't do anything here. So now for this my file now, random file.txt, I can easily turn it to an executable. Okay. If I want, I can turn it to an executable. That will involve using another command. Okay, but let me just show you. If I do chmod plus x, right? And then I do random file.txt. Since I'm the analyst, I think I should be able to do this easily. Watch. So this close just means I'm adding an extra permission to this random file. So if I do ls-l, sorry, let me do ls-l random file. Okay, now as you can see, it is now green. It's now green.
So that it will show for only that particular file.
Yes, to show for only the particular file, which is this random file.txt. Okay, so but the one thing I forgot to add here is to specify if I'm adding it for the user or for the group or for the others of this particular random file. You see, I just did plus X, which is to execute, and apply to both the user, the group, and the others. Don't be like me. Don't make that mistake. Okay. So let me redo this. I can easily use the minus to remove it. See, it has gone. And then if I do ls-l random file, it is back to normal. But now I want to specify for only the user. I want to make only the user to be able to execute this file. So if I do chmod again, and then I will use user, I think user equals to, let me do this. If I say user equals to X, and I do random file, hope I'm right, and I press enter, watch. Since there's no error, it means it's executed successfully. And if I do ls-l random file, okay, what did I do wrong? Give me a second. So this is the, surprisingly, it's removed, it added just, oh, nice. See, now my sense is getting correct. Nice, look at what happened there. I specified for the user only X instead of read, write, and execute. Okay. I hope you are following me. It's good that I'm making this. You see, the reason why we do this kind of lab is so that you can see my mistakes and then what I correct it on live YouTube. So it doesn't be like I'm coming prepared or anything. So you can also, so it's okay to make mistake and correct it. So now I want to correct this, which is going to be read, write, and execute. So you see, totally fine. And if I press enter now, it is still for the user, for only the user of this file, random file.txt. So I'm giving it full permission to do whatever it wants. It can read to the file, it can write to it, and it can execute it. Okay. And then if I do ls-l random file again, watch this. The user now has read, write, and execute. The user being analysts. Okay. The group can only read the file. Okay. Others can only read the file. Okay, let me show this. If I say, now you might not understand when I say group can only read. Let me just show what I mean. If I say cats random first.txt, random file. I get this text, okay? Now imagine where, let me see, okay, random file.txt. Let me try to, let me see if there's any file for roots, for only roots. Let me see if there's any file for roots here. There's no roots file here. That would have been, okay, I think that is what the lab is directing us. This is just one example. So you can practice more on your own. Okay, let me enter the lab. LS. And then let me see what they used as an example here. Mount my new file. Let me see. ls-l mount mnt. Okay, there's nothing here. Okay, fine. Okay. I want to change the user. I want to make this as interactive and interesting as possible. So ls-l random file. I want to change the user for this file, right? And then give it to let me see if I can assign it to root, for example. So now I'm just entering on in comes to permission, I'm entering on that command, which is let me say change owner of this random notifications file to, let me see if it will permit me. I hope. Okay. So there are a lot of commands you can use. All you have to do is Google, ask questions, and then can get back to you. So let's see if this works. CyberOps. Okay, invalid user. Okay, it's the other way around. Invalid user. So it's the user first before the file. So you see. Then random file.txt. And then no errors. Yes, there's no error. And then if I do ls-l random file.txt, you see now the root now is not the owner of this file. Okay, root is now the owner. So now this is user, this is for others. So now let me see, I'm trying to access this file as myself. Let me see ID. My ID, I'm still analyst, okay? But then the root is the owner of this file. Let me see if I can write to the file now, random.txt. So let me do echo again, and I do text. And this time I try to append to it. Remember, appending is to instead of rewriting the entire file, I'm just adding to it. So I'm appending this to random file.txt. And you see this permission denied because I am not root. If you check here, if you check this file permission, random.file.txt, the user now is root, of the owner of this file now is root. So this is where permission comes in. This is how important permission can be. Okay. So if you don't have the right permission to a file, to a resource, you won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to access it. Okay. So now, because I am not root, I cannot access the file. But if I let me show you again, if I cut random, it won't work. If I cut random, of course it will work because the group and others now comes in play. Others can read it, okay, but I cannot write to it. But now let me say, let me run this command now as sudo, as root, okay, as the root user. I do sudo echo text to this random file, and I press enter. Okay, hold on a second. Sudo. Sometimes you get this kind of thing. So let me try to switch user first, and then I'm root. And if I do, okay, if I do echo text, and I do like this, the random file, you see it works. Okay, so sometimes Linux can give you this kind of, even though I invoke the super user permission, but I think it has to do with the permission, but sometimes that's why you see this switch user now, sudo switch user, I'm switching the user as root by default. I can still see I'm showing you so many different commands when it comes to permission now. I can specifically say switch user to root. Okay, it doesn't matter. If I do sudo switch user to root, it will still work. Okay, or if I say sudo, sorry, if I say sudo switch user to analysts. So switch user just to switch between users, it works. But if I do it like this without specifying any of the users, if I do sudo switch user, it's going to come by default to root. Okay, it's going to appear as root by default. So this is where permission plays a big role. So as you can see, we can now append to the file. If I show you cat random, you see this text is there already. And if I do ls-l, ls-l random file.txt, you see the permission is still there. Okay, so the owner of this file now is root. Okay, so let me see if there's any other thing we can learn for this particular lab. Okay. Okay.
Okay. I think a student is asking a question.
Okay.
I'm seeing if I can do it. Just a moment. I'm seeing if I can do a switch. Can you get the, in Linux we have we can use the read write, execute, write, but we also have the numeric values. I think the start command can do that. I don't know if you can use the start command on maybe any of your files so that we can see the numeric value, because I think you have the highest value being 7. That is so, but I'm trying to log into a server a moment so that I can show to the student. But just write on, I'll come back to it. I want to open a server so that I can show them, so that you just give me permission. I will present for like 5 minutes so that they can see what the numeric values of. Also, you can also use the start command, then see it on the live server to see what the numeric values are for files. I will log on to a Linux server. So just write on.
Okay. So this is the importance of permission. Okay, of giving the right permission.
Can you try start?
Hello.
Sorry, can you try to run? Can you try to run start and with a file so that we can see if we can get? I said, can you run start SATAT then with your file name so that if you can see the numeric value of the what's it called?
Okay.
Of your file.
Okay.
Aside the read write, if we can see the numeric values also.
Value. Okay. Start of random file.txt.
Any file that you have there.
Yes. I'm reading it now. So we have this 0744. So this is it here. This is the numeric value here. This 7 just means it has a full permission of.
No, sorry, not cat. Not
start. Start. Yes, that's what I'm running. Start. There's a random file.txt here.
Sorry, I don't know if I'm seeing.
Okay. Yes, I understand what you mean. There's also for permission, there is also the random value.
Just a second. Just a moment. I don't know if I've seen. Okay, just write on. Sorry, I don't post. Just write on.
Okay.
Okay, I can see your screen now. So write on. Thank you.
Okay. So this is the start from my random file.txt. So start can also show me more information, like the random value for my permissions. Okay, now we are saying 744. You'll be confused that, oh, what is this 7? What is this for? What is this for? Okay, this 7 simply means a full permission has been given to the user. Okay, so the read typically is 4, the write is 2, and the execute is 1. Okay, so 4 plus 2 plus 1 meaning 7. Okay, so so this user now for this file, which is the root user, has read, write, and execute permission, which is 7. For the group, there's only a read permission, which is 4. Okay, and for others, there's also only read, which is 4. Let me pull up my text here. So the read is, here's my text. I can find you. So okay, this is it here. So the read is 4, the write is 2, and the executes is 1. So 4 plus 2 plus 1 meaning 7. So now let me try to assign a pattern based on numeric value instead of using the other way around. Okay, now I'm back to being analyst. I'm no longer in the root. If you see, when I switch to root, there are some things that change. For example, you see this hash symbol. This is the symbol for the root user. Okay, and then you are seeing this $sign. This is for the normal user. Okay, so now I'm back to being a normal user. If I clear my screen and I say ls-l random file, okay, this file is still, the owner of this file is still root, and the root still has all these permissions. Okay, so if let me see if I can change the permission real quick back to being owner, analyst, and then random file, and then the password CyberOps. If I do ls-l random file.txt, now the owner is now analyst. Analyst now has the read, write, and execute permission. Now let me remove the permission. Let me say change mode, ch mode. For the user, I want to give it only okay, let me just use the numeric value once and for all. So let me say I want to assign just read and write. Okay, remember read is 4, and then write is 2, right? So if I give 6 and I say 6 for the user, right? What about for the group? I want to give let me see, I want to give 2. Let me show you our guide here, so it doesn't seem like I'm putting the numbers of it. So I want to give read and write for the user first. I want to give only read for the group and only read for the others. So it's going to be 6 for the user and then 4 for the group and others. Okay, so watch this. If I give 6 for the user, then 4, and I say random 5, and I press enter, I hope you can still see my screen. So if I do ls-l random file.txt, you see this, the user now has read and write, the group now has only read, the others two now have only read. So this is how you give permissions, to a file. Okay.
Just a moment. I don't know. I want to share. I don't know if you can just relinquish your rights. Let me just share my screen and explain something to them now.
Okay. Stop sharing.
Just 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, good. So let me share my screen. I don't know. So if you can see my screen, I'm on the file manager of the Linux server. So just indicate on the live chat, please. If you can see my screen, what I have here is file manager.
Yes.
I'm in a folder. I'm trying to create a file now. The file name is CyberOps Labs. So if you can see my screen, please just indicate on the chat,
yes,
please. So I want to make sure the students are actually seeing
your
my
screen.
screen.
Okay.
Okay, good. So a few students have said they can see. Okay, good. Now you see, we're talking about Linux. How many of us can see what permission do you have at the far right? You can indicate in the chat. You have 0644. Now, you see this file? If I right click on this file, this is like your GUI interface. If I right click on this file and change permission, you see I have user, group, world, right? So if I tap on this, I have a 7. If I tap on this, I have a 5. So a 5 is you can read, you can execute, you cannot write. When you say you can read, that means that you can see the file actually. When you say you can write, that means integrity now. That means you can edit, you can change, you can add to it, you can remove to it. When you say execute, that means you can run it. So when you have 7, that means you have full permission, right? Then when you have 756, so you see for the user, for the group, for the world, and all of that, right? If you have 77, that means everybody can do everything, right? Then if you have rest replicate 644, so 644 will be something like this, something like this, something like this. Six, 4, 4, right? So that's the permission you have here. So I think that's very clear. We've seen Linux file permissions in, and one thing about permission is that we're talking about integrity, file integrity. So if you don't want somebody or the outside world, that's why you see some websites, some public facing websites, you will see that you can just only see the content of that site, maybe the file, you can only just download it. You might not be able to edit it. Like most of us that had access to the Google Drive, Google had something like this, CyberOps. Let me see if I can get that. Drive. Just a second. Let me just show you my screen. CyberOps. Now you see this CyberOps file. Let me see if I can open up the CyberOps file. Now you're going to see that you have files here now. Let me just a second. Okay, it's trying to load the permission for this particular file. You see here now, you can indicate and say, okay, I want a particular email address. I want the person to be able to either read, or if I say VICKGORUP, right? So it will ask you, do you want the person to be viewer, or do you want the person to be commenter, or do you want the person to be editor? So all of these has to do with what? File permission. I think you can take over. I will just stop my share. Let me know how many minutes we have before we call it a day. Don't forget, if you have questions, you can ask in the live chat, and so that we can answer your questions.
Okay. I think this is it for the file permissions. So don't forget the short form. Don't forget this name. Okay. UGO. Don't forget your permissions. Okay. So this is 4, read is 4, write is 2, execute is 1. So any permission you want to give, you can just say I want to give for write and execute, which is be 5. We just say 5 for a particular user, then that user is going to have that permission. So don't forget this. So now I don't know if we can still go to the third lab, if there will still be if we can still run this.
I think because of time, we streamed for, let's say, just a second. I think we streamed for about an hour. I think we can call it quit. We can open the group and do feedback.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I think this next class is Wireshark, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you can drop us the 3 labs we are going to be considering tomorrow on the group.
Okay.
We cannot do feedback on the training group. Thank you very much. I think we're going to call it. Let me see if you have questions. If you have questions, you can ask. Let's say a minute or 2 for questions if you have, please. You can use the live chat and ask your questions. Okay, we're waiting for questions on the live chat. Okay, I think that will be all for today. We'll do the other questions and feedback on the training group. Thank you very much, and let's call it a day.